Now it's time for Lefties losing it. So let's check in with the leader of the free world. Remember him? The man who is currently president, allegedly. The man who has, with Kamala Harris, seen the country plunged into an illegal immigration crisis, a cost of living crisis. The dude who talks about fascist even as he tries to bankrupt and imprison his chief political opponents. Well, here is President Joe Biden calling half of America, half of the country, human garbage.
Or Puerto Rico, where I'm in my home state of Delaware, they're good, decent, honorable people. The only garbage I see floating out there is his supporters.
Yep, they're still having a meltdown about a little joke told by Tony Hinchcliffe. Not by Trump, by the way. Trump didn't say the joke. The media is fanning the flames. They've spent more time on this nothing joke than they did on the Trump assassination attempts. They're scared. That's why the Kamala campaign is faltering badly. They are getting increasingly desperate. And this is despite the fact that the Harris campaign is outspending Trump and the Republicans by a huge margin, spending more than 3 times the Republicans last month. But the message is faltering. Could it be because their candidate is uniquely hopeless? Watch here as Kamala takes a jubilant moment at a rally where everyone is chanting her name and completely kills the vibe. Then she laughs hysterically for some reason.
Now I want each of you to shout your own name. Do that.
Yeah, that worked really well. As for the ads and celebrity endorsements, well, they continue to be cringe. Here is a wannabe first husband, Doug, knock him up, knock him out, him off, starring in an ad with Doc Rivers. Watch this and you'll understand why the Democrats have a man problem.
All right, Coach. Doug, you're going to travel across all these swing states, right? You're going to make sure that folks know that Kamala is going to take care of all of them, just like she takes care of her family.
Yeah.
Tony, you have to make sure everyone knows that Kamala is going to support their families. All right, then. Wes, you're going to make sure everyone knows that Kamala is an effective government partner.
You got it, Coach.
And all of you must head to iwillvote.com to make your plan to vote. To vote
For Kamala.
I'm convinced that's just so bad. And if you thought that was bad, take a look at these lefties losing it. The Democrat groups who have released a pro-pornography ad showing a man masturbating to an X-rated clip. Then he's interrupted by a Republican who apparently is going to ban porn under the Trump administration. This is what pure desperation looks like, folks. And I can't show you the full ad because it's obscene.
Oh! Sorry, you can't do that.
What the hell, man? How'd you get in here?
I'm your Republican congressman. Now that we're in charge, we're banning porn nationwide.
You can't tell me what to do. Get out of my bedroom, you creep.
I won the last election, so it's my decision. I'm just gonna watch and make sure you don't finish illegally.
Oh, dear. Yeah, I can see why they have a man problem. But there are white dudes for Kamala, and a lot of them need help. Check out this one broken by Trump derangement syndrome.
What's your biggest obstacle in life right now?
My biggest obstacle in life? Trump. Trump, absolutely. So
Do you wake up and think about him?
Yes, constantly, every day.
Do you go to sleep and think about him?
Yes, every day.
Are you in love with him?
I hate his guts.
Here is another white dude for Kamala, triggered by a Veterans for Trump sign. Watch what he does.
Over to this yard sign that reads Veterans for Trump, abruptly kicks it and wanders off. A minute later, he's back again, his eyes focused on the home. Then just after 6, our friend returns a third time, something yellow in his hand, a piece of paper he leaves in the mailbox.
And the lowlife isn't done yet. Not content with seemingly stalking the house and kicking the sign, he left this note for the man who is risking his life for America.
It talks about how I was a disgrace to my country and a disgrace to the U.S. military because of my choice in candidate. And, you know, at the very end of the letter, he actually tells me to go to hell.
That's the tolerant, inclusive Left for You folks, and that's down in Florida. Can you imagine how triggered that guy is going to be? after Election Day. Let's hear now from the woman herself. We need more Kamala in our lives. She's doing more interviews these days, and that means we're getting more incoherent gibberish like this.
Knowing that we also have the honor and the duty of excelling in every way possible, being able to see what is possible and not be burdened by other people's limited ability to see the same.
I guess she can always go back to calling Trump a fascist, perhaps inciting another assassination attempt.
You called Donald Trump a fascist. The top Republicans in Congress have called on you to tone down your rhetoric. They say it's, quote, irresponsible anti-Trump rhetoric, and they're saying what you're doing could invite another assassination attempt against Donald Trump. How would you respond to that?
Well, first of all, I condemn any political violence of any sort against anyone. But again, don't take it from me.
Meanwhile, Donald Trump doesn't have to spend anywhere near as much as the Democrats when he's got folks on social media taking his words and setting them to music like this. This is the latest viral sensation.
Joe Biden is asleep. Kamala is at a dance party with Beyonce. Beyonce, 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 Beyonce. Beyonce. Dance party with Beyonce. Dance party with Beyonce. Dance party with Beyonce. Dance party with Beyonce. 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 Party with Beyonce. 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 Dance party with 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 Beyonce. 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 Dance party with Beyonce. Beyonce. Dance party with Beyonce. Beyonce. Dance party with Beyonce. Dance party with Beyonce. 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 Party with Beyonce. Beyonce.
Joining me now for more is filmmaker and commentator Ami Horowitz. Ami, a political panel on CNN has had an almighty meltdown over a joke made by a conservative commentator, Ryan Gadowski. He made the joke towards a pro-Palestinian journalist, Mehdi Hasan. This is a man who calls half the country Nazis. But apparently that's fine. But when a conservative makes a joke about a pager going off, let's see the reaction. Let's see the absolute meltdown.
If you don't want to be called Nazis, stop doing.
You're called an anti-Semite more than anyone else at this table.
Yeah.
And people will sit there and no, by me, I never called you an anti-Semite. I mean, I'm not sitting here saying
I'm a supporter of the Palestinians, so I'm used to it.
Yeah, I hope your beeper doesn't go off. The thing is that
you just say I should die?
You should not.
No,
Did you just say I should be killed?
No, I didn't.
Of course, he goes straight into victim mode, interpreting the comment as some sort of a death threat. He did say, I hope your beeper doesn't go off. He didn't want it to explode. And the hysteria continued.
All right, I told myself I wasn't going to entertain nonsense today. And so at this point,
this is what we're in now. This is America in 2024.
Here's what I will say.
Forget the racism.
That's right.
It's I should die.
I didn't say that. You
said,
die.
what does beeper mean? Don't give me your fake ignorance.
I did not say you should die.
Why did you say with my beeper go off?
What did you mean?
What did you mean by the beeper?
So what did you mean?
What did you mean by the beeper? No, you didn't. You said, I hope your beeper doesn't go off.
Ryan, stop talking.
At least have the guts to support your racist comment.
I'm so sorry. But I will tell you, I don't accept that apology, and you didn't even say it to me.
That's fine. I didn't say it to you.
That was disgusting. But I can be offended when you don't even say it to me. I'm not Puerto Rican, but I was offended by what he said yesterday.
The hyperbole is off the charts. That lone conservative was taken off air, and now Army has been banned from CNN.
Yeah, first of all, Rita, I sure hope that Rita Panahi extended Danzo mix that I saw before is going to make it on air. So I like the moves that I saw, Rita. And by the way, for my TikTok Gen Z fans out there, before I start, I want to say thank you, Beyonce. I don't want to die. All right, moving on. Mehdi Hasan, yes. Why was Mehdi Hasan? Mehdi Hasan is a man, just so we have some context here, right? He was fired from MSNBC. He was fired because he had horrible ratings. He was no Rita Panahi when it came to the ratings. That's for sure. That's for certain. But yes, like you alluded to before, prior to that exchange, he went on and essentially said that every Republican, 50% of this country are fascists and Nazis. I would take offense to that. And of course, Godorsky did, because he is one of them. So he was essentially being called a Nazi by this guy. Now, what do I think he's guilty of? Okay, it was a lame joke, for sure. It wasn't really appropriate for CNN. Also, and I get where he was coming from. He was upset. It was a heated exchange. And by the way, Mehdi Hassan, not exactly a shrinking violet when it comes to attacking his opponents, right? So let's be clear about that. And then, of course, the reaction by CNN, of course, it was over the top, right? They had to come with a statement where they said, hey, we don't accept bigotry. We don't want crossing the line of civility.
And that hypocrisy is just so blatant. Like you said, he called half the country fascist. That's fine. There's no problem with that. But they lose their minds over that little joke by Tony Hinchcliffe about Puerto Rico. They're still talking about that. And this joke about a beeper going off apparently is the worst thing that's ever happened on CNN. Just on that Puerto Rico joke, which is still, I can't believe I'm still hearing about it. Joe Biden has responded by calling half of America garbage.
Or Puerto Rico, where I'm in my home state of Delaware, they're good, decent, honorable people. The only garbage I see floating out there is his supporters.
Joe isn't really helping Kamala in these moments, is he, Mia? Do you think he realises that he's doing damage to her cause at times, or is it just a lucky accident? He has no idea what's happening.
He doesn't realize anything. Come on, Rita, look. First of all, can I just one comment? He's the president of the United States. Do you see the framing on that? I mean, who put, like, it's like literally they got to use Sky News Australia's tech people. Those guys are first class. It's like he just sat there, no lighting, right? Just no mic, just threw the laptop up. It was horrible. No, he doesn't know anything. And finally, Rita, I got to say, I kind of blame you.
It's like FaceTiming your great-grandpa.
Yes. Oh, no. Great-grandpa's I'm sure, much more technically savvy and competent than Uncle Joe. Look, Rita, at this point, I got to blame you for elder abuse. Can you stop it? Can you leave the poor man alone? Look, you just told me what he said. The only reason I have to trust you, because I couldn't understand a word he was saying. I listened to that clip 5 times. I had to slow it down. The guy cannot put a sentence together. It's terrible. Now, look, I know he was riffing on the garbage joke, right, by Puerto Rico and Hinchcliffe. I mean, look, was it a mistake to bring Hinchcliffe on? Of course it was. But he is an insult comic. It's what he does for a living. That joke was not out of bounds relative to what he normally says. In fact, it was kind of tame. Hinchcliffe's kind of what he does for a living. Do I like it? Not particularly. Certainly not for an event like that. But at the end of the day, beyond the joke itself was oh God, I got so much joy watching the media trying to make this a news cycle, right? They spent an entire week talking about this. They were they're trying to squeeze as much juice from a lemon that was essentially dry. But it's hilarious watching them do it. Yes, this is the party, the Democratic Party, that calls for civility, right? Calling half the country garbage. That's very civil. Thanks, Uncle Joe.
They have tried to get mileage out of this joke. You know what? I actually do like Tony Hinchcliffe. I love his involvement in the Tom Brady roast. That was brutal. That was funny. I don't think it was a mistake. I don't see Latinos as some hypersensitive group that are going to change their vote based on a joke some dude made. It wasn't a joke that Trump uttered. It was from, and George Lopez made even a more offensive joke, arguably, at a Kamala rally just a few days ago, suggesting that all Mexicans are thieves. I didn't see any meltdown after that. Now, I know you've been out there talking to people yourself, Army. You hit the streets with your camera, and this time you're asking people to explain Kamala's speeches. So you would read out word for word what she has said and see if they could understand it.
And you tell me what the hell she's trying to say.
Okay. Is it Kamala Harris?
Yes. On top of everything else that we know and don't know, yet based on what we've just been able to see, and because we've seen it or not, doesn't mean it just happened. For us, at every moment in time, and certainly this one, to see the moment in time in which we exist and are present, and to be able to contextualize it, to understand it, where we exist in the history and the moment as it relates to not only the past, but the future. Do you want me to repeat that?
You did try your best, but the good folk of Malcolm X Boulevard in Harlem couldn't decipher what Kamala was trying to say.
Can you understand what she's trying to say?
No, you have to explain it more a bit. So how am I supposed to help?
Tell me what she's trying to say.
How the hell am I supposed to know? That might have been nonsense. That was gibberish. I'm not gonna hold you.
I don't even know what that even means.
You Jewish?
I am.
Oh, wow. You married?
I'm not married.
Oh, you're not? Are you dating?
Yeah. Business, baby.
Army, you're not supposed to use these vox pops to drum up personal business for your dating life. That's not the point. But tell me about the experience there. What's the mood there? Are they going to back her regardless of the fact that she's a poor candidate because they hate Trump? Are they energized about voting? What was the vibe in Harlem?
No, and no. Yeah. No, they're not energized. These people aren't stupid. They're not saying, hey, you're a black woman, therefore I should vote for you, okay? That's not the way this thing works. She's dropping the ball when it comes to black community, and they know. It's why they're in panic mode. Look, I know what the polling is saying on the black vote. He's gonna get the biggest vote in the last 60 years. I think it might be bigger than that. I mean, anecdotally, when I go out to the black community and talk to them about Trump and Harris, not only is there not excitement about her, I just hear a lot of people say we're going to vote for Trump. Like right now, the polling saying 50% of black men, right, 25% of the entire black population is going to vote for Trump. It's a massive number. But I think, look, this idea, and it's like every time you say, oh, word salad, this is not just white Republican men who say this thing, right? When I went out there and I started the premise of this video by saying, I'm going to read you a quote, and then you tell me who said it. They all jumped in before I had a chance to even read the quote and go, Kamala Harris? Like they knew where this was going. They understand that she is so vapid, that she just throws in a bunch of incongruous words and hopefully people will think she's smart. She's covering up, that she doesn't know what she's talking about. I and you and conservatives are not the only person who noticed this. Everyone does, including black people. Look, when I do something, when I do a video, yes, it's funny. The comedy, the entertainment is just a delivery device for something more important. And what it's saying is they recognize what we have been saying in the conservative eco-universe, even though they don't listen to us, right? They're not really part of our eco-universe for the most part. They know what's going on because they're not dumb. Look, it is so gross how the Democratic Party takes for granted the black vote. I think black people finally saying we're done being taken for granted.
Well, I do worry about some of the advice she's getting because there are those who are telling her, look at the enormous audience Trump got with Joe Rogan. You should do Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan goes for 3 hours. They cover a wide range of topics over that time. If you were giving her advice,
Kamala,
would you tell her to do Joe Rogan? I think it would be a disaster.
No, please don't. No, look, I would love for her to go on and implode, but you know what? I'm begging her, don't do it. Look, yes, I do not want you to win, and if you go on there, you'll destroy yourself, but please don't do it. It's going to be too painful for the entire country. I'm begging you. I'm giving you solid advice here. Do not do it. Do yourself a favor. You can't handle it.
That is solid advice indeed. Army Horowitz, thank you for your time this evening.
Always a pleasure.